They say there is a fire that does not fear the wind, and a darkness that cannot swallow it. It is a small flame, sheltered by the earth itself. We see it on the darkest nights of the year, glowing from within a hollowed shell. We call it a lantern, a tradition. But it is not a tradition. It is a promise. This is the story of the first spark, the soul that chose to burn in the dark. Long before the nights were carved by tradition, when the veil between the worlds was as thin as autumn mist, the darkness was absolute. It was not just an absence of light, it was a presence, a vast, quiet, and hungry ocean of silence. When a life ended, its light did not travel to a new realm. It was simply extinguished. Returned to the cold, starlit silence. There was no echo, no warmth left behind, just absence. In this ancient time, there lived a soul. We do not know its name, for it belonged to no one, and to everyone. It was not a hero. It was not a king. Perhaps it was a storyteller whose voice had faded, or a painter whose colors had run dry. It was a soul defined by a single defiant quality. It loved the world too fiercely. It loved the feeling of the first frost on the leaves. It loved the sound of the wind through the barren trees. It loved the smell of the damp earth, sleeping and dreaming of spring. When its time came, and the great silent void arrived to claim it, the soul did not fight. It did not flee. It simply held on. It held on to the memory of the sun. It held on to the feeling of longing. The void, which had consumed stars and dissolved mountains, paused. It did not understand. This tiny spark, this insignificant ember of a life, refused to be extinguished. It did not burn with anger, but with memory. The void, which only knew completion, could not process this defiance, and so it left the soul behind, untethered, free, but lost. The soul became a wisp of light in an endless, cold dark. It drifted through the forests it once walked, but it could not touch the trees. It passed over the fields it once knew, but it could not feel the earth. It was a memory, fading, a single cold point of light in a world that could no longer see it. It was, perhaps, the first and truest ghost. The spark grew fainter, colder. It was dissolving, not by force, but by despair. It drifted over the fields, now brown and brittle with the end of the harvest. There, forgotten by the reapers, lay the last fruits of the earth. Humble gourds, pumpkins, round and orange, like small sleeping suns. They were vessels of the earth, hollowed by the natural decay of the season. The fading soul, in its final, desperate moment, drifted towards one. It was not an invasion, it was an invitation. The pumpkin, a thing of the earth, offered its own emptiness as a sanctuary, a shelter. The spark, the defiant soul, settled within the hollowed shell, and for the first time, the darkness was defied. The humble flesh of the gourd, which had been a symbol of decay, of the end of all things, now became a beacon. The soul, sheltered from the void, ignited. It did not burn hot or bright. It glowed, a soft, warm orange light radiating from within. It was not the light of the sun or the stars. It was a new light, the light of a soul remembering. The first jack-o'-lantern was not a warning to scare away spirits. It was a guide. It was the first message from the lost to the lost. It was a testament that said, I am still here, I remember. And the living, we saw it. We saw that single glowing face in the dark field, and we understood. We felt the presence of a soul that loved the world too much to leave it entirely. So, we began to carve our own. It is a ritual of empathy. We take the harvest, a symbol of the end. We hollow it, acknowledging the emptiness. But then, we place a fire inside. We are not just making a decoration. We are making a home, however temporary, for the light. We are repeating that first act of defiance. We are saying to the great silent dark, "You can have the harvest, you can have the light of the sun, but this small human spark, this memory, this soul, this we will shelter, this we will keep."